You told God you were done with it, and then you did it again. And now you think you've gone too far, but you haven't. Here's what God actually does when you fail him. Number 1, God lets you feel the weight of it. The night Peter denied Jesus, he didn't just slip up once. He did it 3 times, to 3 different people, each denial louder and more desperate than the last. I don't know the man. And then the rooster crowed. Luke 22:62 says simply this, and he went outside and wept bitterly. God didn't stop the rooster from crowing. He didn't protect Peter from the grief. He let him feel every ounce of it. He let it break him. Here's what you need to see. Grief over sin is not the enemy. It is the beginning of transformation. Think about what bitterness actually means in that verse. Peter didn't shed a polite tear. He went outside and wept bitterly. This was a man completely undone. The boldest disciple, the one who said, "I will never deny you," the one who cut off a soldier's ear in the garden just hours earlier, now weeping alone in the dark. God let it happen, every single second of it, because God is not afraid of your pain. He is not trying to protect you from the consequences of your choices. He is trying to produce something in you that comfort never could. That crushing awareness you feel right now is not punishment. It is the beginning of something. Bitterness was not the end of Peter's story. It was the starting point, and it is the starting point of yours too. Number 2, God doesn't walk away during your worst moment. While Peter was weeping outside, Jesus was inside being beaten, mocked, and sentenced to death. In the worst night of Jesus' life, the man he called his rock had just publicly denied knowing him 3 times. And yet what does Jesus do on the cross? He dies for Peter anyway, knowing exactly what Peter just did. Romans 5:8 says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Not after we cleaned up, not after we proved we were serious, while we were still in the middle of our failure. Peter hadn't repented yet when Jesus went to the cross. Peter was still outside weeping, still in his shame, still a denier, and Jesus went to the cross for him anyway. Jesus was not operating on incomplete information. He knew Peter better than Peter knew himself. He had already told Peter, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." Jesus saw it coming. He walked toward the cross anyway. Whatever you did, God saw it before it happened, and he sent Jesus anyway. The cross was not a surprise to God. You were not a surprise to God. He has not walked away. He was never going to. Number 3, God sends someone to find you in your hiding. After the crucifixion, Peter goes back to fishing, back to his old life, back to what he knew before Jesus called him. This is what shame does. It doesn't just make you feel bad. It makes you retreat. It tells you to go back to who you were before God got involved, to stop pretending you were ever meant for something more. And so Peter picks up his nets and heads back to the water. No more miracles, no more sermons, just a fisherman doing what fishermen do. But on Easter morning, something happens. The angel at the empty tomb gives the women a specific message. Mark 16:7 says, "Go, tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you into Galilee." And Peter, not tell the disciples, and Peter, specifically by name. Read that again slowly. The first recorded words of the risen Jesus on Easter morning are instructions that make sure one specific person is not left out. The one who failed the most publicly, the one hiding behind his fishing nets, the one who had gone back to his old life. He didn't just include you, he called you out. God does not forget you in your hiding. Whatever shame has told you about your place in God's story, this is the answer. He is not leaving you out. He is looking for you by name. You did not disqualify yourself. You cannot disqualify yourself because you were never qualified by your own performance to begin with. You were called, and the one who called you has not changed his mind. Number 4, God restores you in the same number of times you failed. This is the moment that should make every person who has ever failed stop and read slowly. John 21. Jesus appears to the disciples by the lake. He makes them breakfast. And then he turns to Peter and asks him a question. "Simon, do you love me?" Peter says yes. Jesus asks again, "Simon, do you love me?" Peter says yes again. Jesus asks a 3rd time, "Simon, do you love me?" And Peter is grieved because he knows what is happening. Jesus is not being cruel. He is being surgical. 3 denials, 3 restorations, 1 for 1. Nothing was left unhealed. He is doing this on purpose. Jesus is deliberately walking Peter back through every single moment of that night and replacing each denial with a declaration. You denied me here. Now speak love here. You denied me here. Now speak love here. You denied me here. Now speak love here. Done. Peter did not have to spend the rest of his life carrying the weight of that night. He did not have to flinch every time a rooster crowed. Jesus walked him back through every single moment and replaced it with something new. This is how God restores. Not by pretending the failure never happened, not by glossing over it with cheap grace, but by going back into the exact place of the wound and healing it from the inside. The thing you are most ashamed of, God is not avoiding it. He is walking straight toward it. Stay with me, because this is the part religion gets wrong. Number 5, God gives you back your purpose immediately. Religion says you need to earn your way back. Religion says there is a waiting period, a proving season, a track record you have to rebuild before God can use you again. But watch what Jesus actually does. After each of Peter's 3 answers, Jesus says the same thing. Feed my sheep. Not, you're forgiven, now go rest. Not, let's see if you can be trusted again. Not, come back in 6 months and we'll reassess. Feed my sheep. Right now. You. Go. Immediately. No probation period. Peter, the man who had denied Jesus 3 times just days earlier, is recommissioned on the spot, trusted with the thing that matters most to Jesus, his people. And this is the Peter who goes on to preach on the day of Pentecost and sees 3,000 people saved in a single morning. The same mouth that said, I don't know the man, becomes the mouth that preaches the first sermon of the Christian church. God does not retire people who fail. He restores them and sends them back out. This is what religion gets wrong. Religion tells you that failure disqualifies you, that you need to work your way back to usefulness, that God is waiting for you to prove you're serious before he trusts you again. But Jesus didn't make Peter prove anything. He made him breakfast, he asked him a question, and then he sent him back out. Your failure is not your final chapter, not even close. The same God who recommissioned Peter is looking at you right now, and he is not saying you're done. He is saying, feed my sheep. So let's go back to that moment. The moment you were sure you had gone too far. God lets you feel the weight because he was starting something. God didn't walk away. He went to the cross for you knowing exactly what you did. God sent someone to find you. He called you out by name. God restores you in the exact place you failed, not around it, through it, and God gives you back your purpose. Immediately, no probation period. The story of Peter is not a story about a man who failed. It is a story about what God does with failure when it is handed back to him. You are not too far gone. You never were. The same risen Jesus who stood on that beach, who made Peter breakfast, who asked him 3 times not to shame him, but to heal him, that same Jesus is standing in front of you right now. He already knows what you did. He went to the cross for it anyway. Right now, you are not starting over. You are being restored. There is a difference. If this spoke to something real in you, drop prayer in the comments right now. Just the word. You don't have to fix it first. You don't have to explain. God already knows. And this community will stand with you. Even if you just failed today, if you want to keep going deeper, subscribe right now. We are building a community of believers who refuse to stay down. You are not too far gone. And this time, don't stay down.